Hi everyone, my name is Emmanuel Arsa, well known as the Ultimate Gardener. Come join me in growing generation by generation. In today's exciting sprouting video, I'm going to be talking to you guys my experience growing bush beans. I have went absolutely crazy growing vegetables this year, as you guys have seen it on all my social media platforms, that it's been noticed that I've been growing a lot of vegetables lately. And one of them was bush beans. So let's go back on September the 2nd, where I went crazy starting a lot of vegetable seeds. I went from herbs to tomatoes to cabbages, you name it, there's a good chance I'm growing it. And one of those varieties was the early contender bush bean and the provider bush bean. These are two new varieties I'm trying out this year, and now they are the two favorite varieties in my garden. So growing bush beans are very simple to grow. They're very disease resistant and they are very low maintenance in the garden, which is one of the key points I need to know nowadays. So I went ahead and I planted them out in this strip of land that I got from the New Fresh Garden. When the first months came in, I got it and I planted them in, and I decided that was gonna be my bean bed. I had soybean, I had the bush beans, I had fava beans, and everything was doing amazing. Until I did the mistake of planting out my bush beans when they haven't even sprouted. Yes, you heard right. I planted the bush beans too early when they were starting to germinate, and only 4 plants came up for the early contender bush bean and only 2 plants came up for the provider bush bean. That was a huge letdown, but I was not going to let that happen, so I went in and I direct sowed the same variety of seeds in each pocket. Wherever there was a hole, I decided to patch that up with bean seeds. So I wanted this full and lush bean garden so I could have loads of harvest daily. And so those were growing. In the meantime, I wasn't even focusing on that. The older bush beans, the ones that came out first, were already blooming, which was super exciting. And let me tell you, it has passed only 2 weeks and we are already having flowers, which is very fun to see. Then the other ones started to germinate. The ones I direct sowed started to germinate. So now I knew that we were gonna have a succession of harvest throughout the winter season. I came across my first bean harvest around 4 weeks, around a month, and it was super fun and my neighbors enjoyed it so much. I gave it to them and they automatically started cooking it and they ate it, and they told me that it was so fun and it was fresh straight out the garden, and it made me super happy. That brings us to about last week, where we had our second harvest of beans. I don't know if I was able to catch a photo because I was getting beans literally every week, and so maybe there's a chance I didn't have a photo with it, but I did get a harvest last week. And so all of that coming through that brings us to today. We had a harvest this morning of one of my cabbages, a handful of bush beans, as well as 1 tomato that hasn't even ripened, that fell on the ground this morning. Something knocked it off. I don't know what it was, but good thing the tomato wasn't even eaten, which is the good thing. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things I noticed on my experience of growing bush beans. Number 1, they really need the sun. Sun is a huge requirement for bush beans because without sun, they will not do their best and they'll become very leggy. And I knew that firsthand because I grew bush beans along where my cucumbers are, and those did not have sun at all, and they were turning leggy and they look like a vine to me. So you want to provide them with as much sun as you can, about 6+ hours of direct sunlight. Second, you want to stay on top of harvesting because bush beans are sort of eaten like green beans. They're eaten at a younger stage, so you could boil them, put them in stews, doesn't matter what you use them in. You want to harvest them at an early stage, because if you leave them at an older stage, they'll get harder and you'll just have to wait until they dry out on the vine so you can boil them and use them as regular beans. And Another thing to point out, I haven't dealt with any diseases right now in this point, but I did hear that a lot of gardeners out there are dealing with a lot of whitefly damage as well as powdery mildew. You just want to treat that with an all water and soap based solution, or the water and milk solution, or neem oil, which are all organic sprays you could use in the garden to help prevent these diseases from coming. So those are one of the top ones I really recommend for you to use. So that's my entire growing experience, bush beans, and I was super thrilled to see that I could grow and harvest bush beans every week. It's just an excitement of growing your own food, especially at a younger age. This is super fun to see, and that's why I'm trying to inspire younger generations to get their hands in the dirt and grow their own food. Thanks for watching this video. If you like seeing my experience growing bush beans, please leave a like down below, and while you're down there, please subscribe to show your amazing support towards the Ultimate Gardening channel, and also share with your friends and families to help the younger generations learn where their food comes from, but not only that, but to also grow it. So thank you all so much for watching, and never forget to grow big, Ultimate Gardeners. Bye guys.